I was thinking about, I thought you left it in intentionally because someone's point gets cut off halfway through because of the f up.
Yeah.
And then when it comes back, you guys don't remember the point, and you said, anyway, let's move on to this other one.
Oh.
And so I thought you kept the f up in to explain why you didn't finish the question.
Oh, okay.
So it actually worked out.
It works out. Okay.
Except that you did say, which was really funny. I was walking and it's just like, wait, Mike's frozen. Mike's like, but then it was funny because then like you bleeped Jesse later.
Yeah, I feel like that's the new joke of the show. I can't say the word, but y'all can say the
Apparently you are never allowed to curse.
You're never allowed to say the word.
Because it's happened before where I've bleeped Mike and Jesse, and I just for some reason I don't hear myself when I say.
Yeah, it's not a bad word when you say it.
Exactly.
That's what I tell my wife.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Not Your Father's Movies. I am Vito.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Jesse, and we are the Dad Fathers coming at you with some brains energy. And we have a very special dude joining us. Dude, how are you?
That's not my name.
What? Your name isn't Dude?
I thought for sure it was Dude.
Pretty sure
My
it's
name
Dude.
is Jude.
Oh.
I see. Jude the Dude. Longtime friend of all of us. We've known you for so long.
Yeah. It's been a while.
Over 10 years.
Over 10 years.
I think.
Wow. But you're on here joining us to talk on Mike's birthday episode.
Whoa, it was my birthday?
Well, it was.
Oh.
It's not now. But it's your birthday month.
Yay!
And so we give you the gift that we always give you as dad fathers, which is you get an episode to pick whichever movies you want to talk about in whatever order, and we have to watch them and talk about them, at least semi-intelligently. We can't promise full intelligence, but some.
Awesome.
Yeah, and you brought along Jude for the ride. We're happy to have Jude because Jude actually was on my old show back when I had a show. Episodes that were never released.
That was a fun night.
Yeah. I just sat in my carport. It was cold.
It was never released?
Oh, no, I never released any of these. No.
I thought they were all on SoundCloud somewhere.
Oh, they a bunch of them were, but not really. And I didn't advertise, and then I took them down.
Are they still somewhere?
I have them all.
Though?
I have not on SoundCloud. I deleted them
somewhere.
They cannot be found.
Ooh,
I made sure of it.
Interesting. They're on a hard drive hidden
in my basement.
So it sounds like they can be found.
Yeah, if you know where to look and who to dig past to get to them.
Ooh, interesting. Well, so we brought Jude along because, Jude, I don't know if you've seen all of the movies that we're going to talk about tonight, but we have spent many long nights talking about many things, including zombies. Wait, we're talking about zombies.
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
And I thought that you would be a great addition to the team.
I'm excited.
He's grinning from ear to ear, folks.
Really we're talking about zombies.
Mike decided for his birthday episode that he wanted to talk about zombies, the apocalypse, the rise of the undead, the alien infected, possibly the voodoo cursed, maybe a disease. Wow.
This is exciting.
It's just a lot of things. What a zombie could be.
Yeah, what is a zombie, Vito? Are you a zombie?
Would a zombie know?
Aren't the zombies just the living dead?
That's a classical definition.
Aren't we all just living dead?
Oh,
that's
boy.
Ooh, who's the real Walking Dead?
I thought the real question was, are we human or are we dancer?
He said, are we human or are we denser?
This is vital.
It's the true lyrics are we human or are we denser?
It's not.
Oh.
It is. He said it in an interview.
It's not. He's asking if our true identities are dancing, and you're asking if our true identities are being dead.
Oh, yeah.
Or
so
dense.
Which movies... You know, we can't say these zombies are not dense. They're actually pretty liquidy.
They're pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So I picked 3 movies because I guess we do 3 movies. I guess we could pick more.
Yeah.
I watched more.
There's Zombie Land.
There's
Zombie Land. Those are 2 zombie movies.
There's that zombie TV show.
Which one?
Which one?
The Walking Dead.
There's also Fear the Walking Dead.
Which I don't.
There's that one where the zombies are fast, which was weird.
Ooh.
28 Days Later? Or
Wait, there was a show?
No, with the Z.
World War Z?
Z
Yeah.
Nation?
Oh,
Oh,
World
Z
War
Nation also.
Oh, I
but-
never
yeah,
saw that one.
I never saw
Yeah.
that show.
That's
but
a pretty cool show.
Is this like 5 seasons now or something?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Zombie shows just take off.
Yeah.
And like they only need like 1 million people to watch them because it's the same 1 million people.
I was
They
just like,
watch
yes,
all of them.
Yeah.
I need to see more
I mean, everyone
dead
watched
people.
like Walking Dead season 1 because it was good.
Yep.
And then season 2 because it was okay.
Yep.
I
There's
think
still
you got to
millions.
keep going.
There's still millions of people though who are like 11 seasons of The Walking Dead is not enough Walking Dead for me. I don't know who they are.
Isn't it the most watched like prestige TV show on TV today?
I believe so.
I think it is.
It boggles my mind.
I stopped watching The Walking Dead 6 seasons ago, like midway through season 5. So like everybody keeps talking about people, like I don't even know who that is. I know you think that's a big deal, but I've still never met Negan.
Negan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it used to be a favorite conversation topic between you and I, Jesse. I remember a one late night in particular where we stayed out in your pool and drank beer and just argued about the differences between the show and the comic for like 5 hours.
Yeah, because you had only read the comic and I had only watched the show, and it was great because it's like Marvel's What If show. It's like that, but one's a comic and one's a show because like crazy things happen. Since Daryl is not in the comics, Carol changes quite a bit in the comics, and has a very sad and different path, and does not become the craziness that she becomes in the show.
Yeah, it's very divergent. They're almost the only DNA they have is that they're both huge bummers.
Yeah, they sure that.
I get the sense that the comics are more of a huge bummer.
Oh my goodness. Oh, it is punishing.
Yeah.
You stick around if you love masochism.
I stopped during the torture scene of the governor. I think.
Oh, that one's rough.
Yeah, Michonne tortures the governor, and it's like it involves a spoon and some.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not going to say more.
Even in black and white, which the comics are,
It was gruesome.
yeah. Anyway, sorry to tangent.
No, that is what we are here for tonight. We are here for tangents primarily. So we do have 3 specific movies that we're using as our baseline text, but we're kind of bringing in every zombie thing that we've ever encountered while we're talking tonight. But the 3 ones that we're really talking about are near and dear to, I think, all of our hearts. 28 Days Later from 2001, Shaun of the Dead from 2004, and Train to Busan from 2019. These are big, right? Like, I don't know. I think a lot of people know these movies. I don't know a lot of people who don't know of them, or at least the first 2.
Especially, but the Train to Busan is a real darling in horror circles.
Yeah.
And I think it's starting to radiate outwards, as these things do. And I think it's gaining a lot of love, especially because now it's like a whole universe,
Right.
which is kind of annoying because the other entries are not very good.
I just watched Peninsula.
Oh, it's awful.
It's so bad.
It's really bad.
It's really bad.
It's almost embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's like it's the same guy, and you're going, oh,
It's
Where-
like he made Train to Busan, and he was like, people really like this. I'm going to take all the things that people didn't care about in Train to Busan and put it into Peninsula.
mm-hmm.
And that's what it was.
The ending is unending. It goes on for
So long.
like it feels like an hour.
It's 20 minutes.
It's
Wow.
I was so bored. I actually was like walking around the room. Is this going to be over soon?
Yeah. All right. So you guys say that it's pretty popular, but I've never heard of anybody who knows of Train to Busan. Anytime we bring it up, no one knows what that is.
I've heard about it.
That-
yeah,
Cool. Good for you.
See, it's famous. Everybody knows.
I want to watch it.
This is really
It's spreading, like Vito said.
Like wildfire.
Like zombies.
Ooh.
Who's the real Walking Dead?
The fire is. Because they both spread.
So 28 Days Later was made in 2001. We're going to do like a little bit of cast and crew, just cast and director here, because all of these, like they're near and dear to our hearts. These are big movies, and I think that each one of them could be its own full episode. We don't want to do that today. We don't want to spoil all of the nitty gritties about the movies, but this is a big one. 28 Days Later was made in 2001 by Danny Boyle, who has made
my boy.
so many movies. He's had like a really interesting career, right? Like
Bizarre career.
it's bizarre. He does so many different things.
Yeah.
Up and down.
He's done almost every genre, almost literally every genre.
Is Yesterday his most recent one?
Yeah.
Which was interesting.
They're always interesting, even if they don't work.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about him. But also, he directed one of my all-time favorite movies, Trainspotting.
Yeah.
And Trainspotting 2, which I
It's a
just
good
adore
movie.
with all my heart.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of those, Jude? He's nodding.
nodding.
Yes.
You can't hear the wind. He is
Can't talk
nodding.
with my face anymore. This is annoying.
And it stars our good friend Cillian Murphy, who last appeared last episode.
It's true.
In his second Apocalypse. This is his first Apocalypse, way back in 2001. Co-stars Naomi Harris, who is probably best known as being Moneypenny in the most recent James Bond.
The Daniel Craig James Bonds.
Yeah. And just the other day, her movie came out, which is pretty cool.
Can't wait to see it.
I know.
I'm running out of time to die.
Yeah.
I have no time to do
You
it.
got no time to do it, Vito. But on this podcast, she's best known for being Tia Dalma from Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3.
What happened to Witty Jack?
Where'd he go? And being a 1,000,000-foot crab person.
Spoilers.
Oh no! We spoiled Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End.
It's a figurative crap.
Brendan Gleeson, one of the best dad actors out there, right?
Absolutely.
He's in one of my favorite movies, Calvary. He's in all sorts of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And also Christopher Eccleston. Chris Eccleston. He's a dad actor for me because he was Doctor Who in the first season of the reboot, which is really big in my life. I'm not a Whovian. Doctor Whovian. I don't know. I don't even know what the correct.
I think that's
A
the
Hoobly?
correct word.
I think it's correct. I think you're a Who that lives down in Whoville.
That's
Yeah,
what I am.
yes.
Thanks.
Cool.
But that I don't know. That season meant a lot to me.
It's a really good season, actually, and it's for that reason that I also know him, because
Yeah.
I know that David Tennant is probably most people's favorite Doctor from the new ones. There was that other guy that was also really famous that did it.
Matt Smith.
That guy,
Yeah.
I hate his face. But
So many people say that.
I hate it.
It's like a clay
I can't
face.
wait to see him in Last Night in Soho, because I bet he's going to get punched.
Yeah.
But I also loved Christopher Eccleston because I was in college. Doctor Who was coming back. I was like, why does this matter? And we sat down to watch it, and I was like, I love this man.
Yeah.
Christopher Eccleston is so lovely.
It's amazing. Especially considering like the role he plays here too.
Very
it's-
hateable.
Yeah, it's an interesting sort of because it's around the same time that he does these two things. Did you ever see The Leftovers?
No.
Yeah.
You Jude,
Amazing.
speak more.
One of the best shows I've ever seen until
Yeah.
the third season, where it wasn't. They got the ending wrong. I'll have to remember a little bit longer exactly why. It played with the supernatural in a way where it was real, and then the ending kind of took away all the mystery.
Oh no.
And,
Oh.
yeah.
I do remember though when that show was, I think maybe coming back for the third season, or when it was in the second season. I remember you coming up to me and very sincerely looking me in the eyes and saying, "This is the best TV that's ever been made."
It was up there. It was up there. I mean, the first two seasons and parts of the third, they're on that level that's the best. I mean, there's other things which I think are the best, but they were there.
It makes me think of Lost, but like even better at its best or
Yeah.
whatever. But the
Yeah.
ending kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
You like the ending of Lost though.
I love the ending.
Yeah, I don't really like it.
It's the same author though,
Yeah.
right? Isn't it Damon Lindelof?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
What did you watch Lost or The Leftovers, Jesse? I've only watched the beginning of Lost and never went back.
I've seen all of Lost twice.
Holy
yeah.
cow!
Whoa.
Yeah,
Me too.
one time, like, that was a big deal for me in high school, and then I wanted to show Liz, because just like, oh, this used to be a big deal. We should watch it all. And I did not like it nearly as much the second time around. I used to love it, though.
I am
Interesting.
so impressed with your like ability to stick with it because I did that with Mary Claire too. I think that you were there when we started watching it,
Huh.
and we went through, and then like you left or whatever, and we kept going for maybe a week, and then just sort of petered out.
Yeah.
Well, I really love the characters in that one. Anyway, I don't want to get...
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting
Lost
way
is
off
about
track.
zombies.
I do want to mention though, in 28 Days Later,
Or is
that
it?
there is. I'm sorry. What, dude?
Is Lost about zombies?
Ooh.
Stay,
He's lost about zombies?
stay tuned for Not Your Father's TV shows coming 2023. No, I did want to mention, though, and call out the writer of 28 Days Later of Alex Garland, who would later go on to write Ex Machina and Annihilation and be like one of the most forefront sci-fi writers working today.
Yeah.
Also did that show on Hulu last year, Devs.
Right.
He's a
These
very
are all
cool guy.
amazing things.
Yeah. And he's an amazing writer. He's also a very good novelist, and he has worked with Danny Boyle previously on The Beach with Leonardo DiCaprio. He wrote both the novel and the screenplay.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's a weird movie that also doesn't really work. Although if you say that on Twitter, you'll probably get criticized for some
Really?
reason. People really like that and also hate it. I don't know why.
Interesting.
It's a weird mythology, but I just wanted to mention him because Alex Garland will come up in the future of the show quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Well, 28 Days Later is a wild movie in general, and it's just what the reason why we picked it and the reason why we're talking about it first is because it's the first one of kind of this new type of zombie movie. It came out in 2001, and it kind of is the start of modern zombie movies. It introduces fast zombies that are
Rage zombies.
Rage zombies. Yeah, and they're actually kind of not even zombies,
Right.
Which is I remember we had this discussion way back when about, how technically the Will Smith one wasn't about
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend
that's
a
isn't
great one.
zombies, and 28 Days Later is, but technically it's not either.
Yeah.
But it totally fits and it totally works, and I don't care.
That's the cool thing about the zombie genre, though, is that it is so malleable, and that's why I wanted to preface it by saying, like, there's all these things, they all count.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just going to be a purist and say, like, my zombies are only infected by a virus from the government,
They
that
have died
rises
and come
them from
back
the
to
dead.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, here would be an interesting question would be to think about the different causes of zombies. Like, what are they? I mean, virus from the government. So some sort of biotech that goes wrong.
Yep.
But I forget what it was in the one with Will Smith.
That one, that's a plague.
That's cancer treatment gone wrong.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, and then I just saw Night of the Living Dead, and that was like either a spaceship or a meteor that came back to Earth and radiated people's brains.
Yep.
Right.
So not
Yeah.
from, I guess, semi from the government, or just really radiation from space. It's not even a virus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The-
from out there.
The alien origin is actually like a really popular way to get zombies started in movies.
Yeah.
I've noticed the aliens, and that's why, like, when we were talking about, creatures and everything, not to step on a later segment, but
Yeah.
aliens and zombies
Let's
are
step all over
very
it.
intertwined.
Yeah.
I think so.
There's always, like, we're scared of that which is other, and as soon as we stop being afraid of the origin of zombies, like in White Zombie and xenophobia in other cultures, being like, oh, it's just because they're hoodoo that this is all happening. Once we stop blaming other humans for it and stop blaming supernatural forces, we're like, well, it's aliens.
It's aliens. Yeah.
It's aliens, or if you want to do, like, the Resident Evil track, then it's an evil corporation that accidentally let something out.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the two most popular methods in the last 50 years of
Or
zombies.
it's Army of the Dead, where it's just everything.
Well,
It's
Everything.
aliens
That's the
and
government.
the government and technology.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
And interestingly, that's the only new zombie, quote unquote, franchise that I refuse to acknowledge as a zombie franchise. That is some horse shit in there. No. Zombies cannot have kids. That is canonical.
That's the only thing that holds for zombies.
I
Like,
think so.
yeah. Yeah, the way that they propagate is by biting.
Biting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Or blood in the eye or something
Yes.
like that.
The transference of fluids, because again, this is happening that when this begins back in the 70s and 80s, we're having the rise of AIDS scares.
Right.
And so the scariest thing is that someone can get their fluids into you, and now you will change and become other.
Yeah.
And that was a really big deal. So it is transference of fluids, specifically blood, or it's through violence, which, could classically stand in terms of sexual assault.
Yeah.
I think the genre is deep in that way as well.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Damn, we're getting in.
I know.
This is great.
Sorry.
This is why I wanted to do this. This is great. Also, it's Halloween. That's also why we're doing it. And there's some more stuff here. Okay. So
Are
just
zombies spooky though?
Ooh. Oh, no, let's talk about that after we go through the movies a little bit, because I really want to talk about that. Okay. So the next movie that we've got on our slate is Shaun of the Dead, which came out in 2004.
The spookiest of them.
It's created or directed by our very good friend Edgar Wright, who we'll be talking about again at the end of this month with
He
Last
wrote
Night in
it.
Soho.
So excited. So
Yes.
excited.
He's like our favorite guy right now in a lot of ways, right? Like, I mean, we've all seen all of his movies. I don't know. Have you seen?
I've seen many of them. They're all good.
Yeah, you've seen like Hot Fuzz,
Yeah.
and yeah.
I mean,
I
it's
gotta
only
go
got
back and see that.
5 movies, right?
We did the count on the Baby Driver episode.
Yeah.
I forget the count now.
I think
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
5.
Yeah,
Or 6. Is Last Night in Soho make 6?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, we
It's
love
not that
him.
many. Yeah, we do.
It's not that many, but we still
7
love him.
because of the Sparks Brothers.
Oh yeah, and you've seen that.
Yeah, I love that. It's
I
a really
haven't
good
seen it.
documentary. Get to it, guys. That is
Yeah.
a blast. That will be showing up on our year-end list for sure.
Ooh, cool. And it stars Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. It's the first of the Flavors Cornetto trilogy. Which what ties these together? Is it basically so it's
It's the Cornetto.
okay?
It's the ice cream.
It's that's right. It's the ice cream.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's
So
right.
he's also called it the Blood and Ice Cream trilogy
Okay.
because there's blood and ice cream in all of them.
And what are the movies that are here?
Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End.
The World's
World's
End.
End.
And they all have Simon Pegg and Nick Frost in them.
Yep.
And they're very, very genre specific.
Absolutely.
Each of them kind of is I said lampooning at one point about this kind of movie. That's not the right word.
It's a loving parody.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like drawing together it's a comedic drawing together of everything in this genre.
you know, like they say, like the best satires can function as the thing that they're making fun of. And I think that's kind of what these are doing, but they're not really making fun of it. It's just like it's putting on a bunch of hats.
Yeah.
Like Shaun of the Dead is like, all right, all the zombie hats, we're gonna wear them all, and it's funny. And then Hot Fuzz is like, okay, so it's buddy cop action movies and also like horror movies about communities. Okay. And then The World's End is like, I don't know, it's pretty much just like The Thing from Another Planet. Just pretty much that.
And pubs.
And pubs. Yeah.
Pubs.
Pub culture.
Pop culture and outer space. Yeah. A lot of love for this movie
Absolutely.
from me.
Oh yeah.
And the last in our trilogy here is Train to Busan, which is the most recent. It is from Korea, South Korea. It was made in
Are you sure
2019.
it's not North?
I mean,
They could honestly be undergoing a zombie apocalypse, and like, who would know?
It was directed by Yeon Sang-ho. Am I pronouncing these right?
I think you did that well.
Okay. If I mispronounce anything, I'm really sorry. It stars Gong Yoo,
Go you!
who is the father in this movie. And he shows up in the very popular Squid Game.
Squid Game's so good.
As a
pretty
salesman.
good.
That is a way. Yes, you could describe him. Yeah,
That's all he is. That's literally
That's
what
all
he
he
is.
he's the first game. He's the game master
Yeah.
for the first game. He's like, I don't know. Let's play this game.
Let's
I'll
play
give you a
this
lot
game.
of money,
Yeah.
and if you lose, I'll hit you.
For those of us who
That's
haven't
great.
seen this movie but want to, or at least know nothing about it, what's like the setup?
Ooh.
Because I'm really curious.
A
Squid
gambling
Game or Train to Busan?
The train.
train. Father and daughter are on this train, and a zombie outbreak happens while they're on this high-speed train.
Mm.
And it's happening in the stations as they go, but then there's suspicion that, maybe one of them got on the train.
Huh.
And no one is very well equipped to deal with it because no one understands what's happening. It's like, it's
Yeah.
like if the first 3 days of the COVID thing, but people were turning into zombies
On a train.
Yeah.
on a train.
Well, off the train.
Off
Well,
the train.
also
Okay.
on the train and off the train. So there's a whole South Korean pandemic going on. So every city that they're hitting on the train is so that when they left, everything was normal. When they get there, everybody's zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they're trying
And
to
they're
figure out.
fast.
Yeah, and they're trying to figure out where they can go.
I love it.
And
I love it already. I love
And nobody
I love
knows anything, and it's kind of claustrophobic. It spans the whole country,
it. And
at
they're
the same
moving the
time.
whole time. I
And
love
they're
movies
moving the
where
whole
they're moving
time.
the whole time.
Oh,
Have you seen Snowpiercer?
No, but I
Okay.
want to.
it
There's a
feels-
bit of Snowpiercer in here.
It feels like that, but less claustrophobic than Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
Less claustrophobic. I like that.
Oh,
Yes.
Both less claustrophobic and less
No, just
class
claustrophobic.
There's
emphasis. A little less
There's-
class emphasis.
There's a little class, but
a
it's,
little less like one-to-one.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, like Snowpiercer operates as like a really large analogy.
Yes.
For a dick.
no, that's the Blue Origin spaceship. That's what you're thinking of.
That's what you're thinking.
There's a lot of class
Yeah,
analogy
yeah.
there.
But this
Yeah,
also
very-
stars besides. Oh, sorry.
In Train to Busan, there's still a lot of like class analogy too. There's a lot of like
Yeah.
the dad happens to be like a hedge fund broker or something like
Yeah.
that, and he's kind of
Yeah.
like shat on by everybody. Maybe he started the virus. Who knows? But it's kind of implied that his company did. And
Yeah.
then like
Yeah.
the main villain is just like a CFO.
Yeah.
No. He's a COO.
Oh, COO. Yeah.
COO.
He
Yeah.
sucks. He's
Yeah.
the worst.
He is the
I was
worst.
so happy
Yeah.
when he continued
something
on in
happened.
the movie.
When something happened. We're trying to be spoiler light in this episode, but that's not going to work too well.
We're
Just
gonna
gonna
do our
say
best.
that.
We're gonna do
Just
our
gonna
best.
say that. We're gonna spoil stuff. So watch these three before you go too much further, if you can. Did you want to say some more of the people that are in Train to Busan?
Yeah, I just wanted to just shout out
Yeah.
Ma Dong-seok, I think is
Yes.
how you say it, because he's a very, very good actor, and he's a very unique shape. He's just really big.
He's huge.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But he's also he shows up in a lot of really cool South Korean action films, but more specifically one called The Good, the Bad, and the Weird, which I believe Quentin Tarantino presented, and it made its way over in the States, I think in like 2008, 2009. And that one is a really fun one. But he's a very reliable dude, and I'm glad that, as you have noted down here, Mike, he will be showing up in Eternals from
Yeah.
Marvel. I'd love to see this guy do more, because he has a lot of charisma. Just like with Gong Yu, like these are two very talented people
Yeah.
that need to break out into larger audiences.
Yeah.
And as good as Squid Game is, Gong Yu just has, he's only in 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Um,
It's kind of weird to me, like, because he's the main character in this one.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't he the main character in Squid Game?
I kind of think it's because he is so handsome.
Yeah.
He's so good looking
Yeah.
that you need him to play the character he does in Squid Game. And you need the guy, what's his name? Gi-hoon,
Mhm.
who is not that handsome. And he's kind of a loser
Yeah.
to really
Yeah.
sell that show.
Yeah,
that
I mean, he
dude
could
has
have
a
been the
purpose-
cop or...
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
The dude in Squid Game, he's got like a purposely like comical face.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
most of the time. So it ends up like working because they add like a comedy bent for some of it to like
Mhm.
ease what's going on. Whereas this guy in Train to Busan, what's his name?
Gong Yu.
Gong Yu, he is not funny. He makes everything more intense because he's there.
So, surprise, we're going to talk about Squid Game. No,
I mean, who isn't? That's the thing. Who is not? This show is
Yeah.
amazing.
it's yeah,
Also going to show up at the end of the year if I have anything to say about it.
yeah, for sure. No, I'm kidding. We're still talking about zombies, not fun games where bad things can happen. Anything else that you guys want to talk about with these movies at all before we start opening up to larger questions and
Oh,
stuff?
I did have a quick one.
Yeah.
Just so we all of us like these ones, but if we had to say which our favorite was, Mike, as it's your birthday, which
I'm so sorry.
It was really gross sounding.
you're like a cat.
I was just about to choke on a fucking
Just whacked him a hairball.
What is that? What is that?
It's just a lozenge.
It's a lozenge.
Oh,
Nicola.
okay. Holy shit!
I'm
I
so sorry,
I genuinely
guys.
thought it was a hairball or water.
I was a little disgusted for a minute. I was like,
It's
You guys are seeing me at my worst. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Vito, you were gonna ask how we would rank these movies.
Yeah, if you want to rank them, or if you just want to say which your favorite is, just so that I don't know, like my favorite here is 28 Days Later. I think that 28 Days Later is pretty much a stone cold classic. I think it's already been hailed as such, and it's already over 20 years old.
Yeah.
It's so influential. I think it's also the only film that we're going to talk about. It's one of the few zombie movies that actually scares me still. That is still horrifying to me in a real way and isn't just fun. I don't think there's almost anything fun about 28 Days Later. It is gnarly and brutal, and it doesn't let up until the final moments.
Why is that? That it still scares you?
It scares me. All right, spoiler alert for 28 Days Later coming now. Because when the movie shifts halfway through and it stops being about the zombies being the biggest threat, and instead it's your cohorts. When I saw this when I was a kid, this was the first time I'd ever seen that. I'd never seen a zombie movie where the zombies weren't the scariest thing out there. It was the people that would take advantage of you because they knew they had power, and they knew you had nowhere to go because there's a big bad out there, but there's a big bad in here too. And that idea of like almost virtual enslavement inside of a zombie apocalypse is still a very frightening idea for me because I see how real it is. And I think many people have now too, including Robert Kirkman for The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
That's the main villains in The Walking Dead are the people. And I don't think he could have done that without 28 Days Later. And just the way too that Danny Boyle chooses to show these images, Danny Boyle's obsessed with experimenting with images. And he shoots it. It looks like shit.
It does.
But it's beautiful too.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're distracted by the very poor quality of the film that he's using. I think he's shot it in like video or something.
No, he shot it on digital cameras. Like you
nice.
can get them at the store, digital cameras in 2001. So we could a movie that we took on our phone today of my kids looks better than this movie looks for 98% of it.
Yep.
At the very end, he switches to an actual camera, which is part of why you feel the relief at the end.
You get a clear damn image.
Yeah.
But there's moments though where he uses this, many moments where he uses this to his explicit advantage. For instance, showing the many shots of London at night, the haunting images of Cillian Murphy wandering in his hospital gown through desolate London during the day, and it looks hazy and empty. It looks like the world's ended.
Yeah.
Or there's a moment where they're driving through these fields. And he's got the camera set up quite a ways away. You can just see the car in the distance. And you see all these flowers. And it looks like an impressionist painting. The images that he manages to capture, because he knows how to use his equipment, are beautiful. And that sinks me into it. The quality of his artistry and the direness of the stakes sell me on this more than the other two. I still enjoyed the other two a lot. But this one feels like a movie. This one feels like this is a film, guys. We can learn from this thing.
Yeah.
And Shaun of the Dead is like, yeah, this is a really good time. And Train to Busan is like, man, that was fun. I just don't. Yeah, for me, that's where my heart is. What about you guys?
For me, everything you say about 28 Days Later is totally true. I think it's definitely, it reshaped what we do with just movies in general. I think movies about the apocalypse, movies about zombies, it created The Walking Dead. I mean, The Walking Dead starts basically the same way, and they say they didn't, rip it off, but I mean, come on.
It's a literal same.
And I mean, the impact of this movie, they were starting to make this movie before 9/11 happened, but it came out the same year as 9/11. And just, there's so many things in it that resonate, I think were somewhat impacted by the fact that happened. And it's just a really troubling tale in so many ways. But also, what's beautiful about Danny Boyle is I think at the end he infuses hope.
Yeah,
which is something like The Walking Dead really doesn't.
Right.
At least yet.
Yeah.
We're only like 300 episodes in.
Yeah, but I think a lot of stuff, or maybe a less incredible, filmmaker and writer duo wouldn't have been able to do with this movie. But still, my favorite, when it comes down to just favorite, is Shaun of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
I love Shaun of the Dead. It's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much fun, but it's also got a lot of heart.
Yeah,
as well. It's a little cheesy, but in a way that knows it's cheesy with that heart, And I think it's also, it kicked off kind of a new type of movie making in a way, or that sort of genre. It didn't kick it off, but it kicked it off for me. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
And I would say it too ends with hope.
Oh yeah.
Buddies sitting down playing a game.
Yeah. And he's also
No
with
biting.
his girlfriend.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, nobody needs to work service jobs anymore.
It's great.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
I wonder if that's saying something. I don't know.
It might be. It might actually be.
Jude, do you have a favorite in here or another one that is a favorite?
I've only seen Shaun of the Dead. It's great. I really want to see the other two now,
Yeah,
and then
you got to.
and then I can decide.
What about like in general? Like what's your favorite zombie
Is it
property?
Zombieland?
Well, no. What's the one with Will Smith?
I Am
I Am
Legend.
Legend.
I Am Legend.
Yeah.
For a while, that was like my favorite movie. It didn't stay that way, but it was like I watched it. I was like, "This is my favorite movie."
Mm-hmm.
So I remember really liking that one.
That's a really good one.
Um,
That's a stay tuned for sure.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember why at the moment, but I'll try to remember.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I don't know if I ever asked myself why it was my favorite. It was just like I love this movie.
It was
It's
instinctual.
yeah.
Do you have a new one now, or is that still like what you say the top is?
I don't know. I haven't thought about this question.
Yeah, it's okay. That's okay.
I don't know.
What about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I gotta say Shaun of the Dead. I love Shaun of the Dead. I've got lots of nostalgia for that one. Grew up with Shaun. I mean, like, yeah. I think it showed me that comedy can really exist in these brutal places. I guess I hadn't really known that before. Like, of course, there's like raunchy comedies or whatever. There's even horror comedies, but this is like truly funny and truly witty. It's not just like gross fart jokes, even though there are fart jokes in there, and they're great.
No, Shaun. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's so funny. But this is like a very well crafted, really tight. It's Edgar Wright, and he just like every scene, every camera movement is like intentional, and you can feel that in the way this movie is presented to you when you're watching it. So yeah, I just love every single scene of this movie and the ride it takes you on, and just how funny it is. And then how like oddly emotional it is, like with his dad and then with his mom. Like it's
I've lost my dad. Yes, that happened a while ago. No, I just got my dad and then I lost him again.
I completely forgot about that, like that little story, and it was so much fun to go through it again because like, oh my gosh, like this is huge, like this is a huge moment, and then it was fun.
Yeah, and he's just dead. and then with what the dick guy, I can't remember what his name is, Duff or whatever. It's like pointing.
The actor's Dylan Moran. I don't remember his character.
He has a very specific name in the movie, but they all call him. They call him one word.
Yeah, but
what does that mean?
There's a couple.
Dav. It's David.
Oh, that's right.
They call him Dav.
Oh, Dav.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay, sorry. Yeah, when Daff is like pointing the gun at the mom, and then like Shaun comes up and is like, "Don't point the gun at my mom." And then Dad comes up and is like, "Don't point that gun at Barbara."
I love that. That was one of the hardest I laughed in the movie. It's just like every time Nick Frost dialed it up really, really high was the funniest part for me. Every time he did it.
Oh, he's so great. Yeah. Anyway, I love Shaun of the Dead as a comedy, and then I think it also works as a zombie movie. Like I'm tense at times. Of course, I know what's going to happen, but I really do feel like everybody could die in that movie, and it could have ended as a downer, but it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really cool. And then, dude, I just watched Train to Busan. It is so good. Hadn't seen it before, but that ride is incredible.
It really is.
Yeah, I don't think my heart didn't stop pounding for most of the movie.
Oh, wow.
It goes so fast.
I hadn't felt something like that in a long time. And also, like, you want to talk about something that has heart. That has a ton of heart. I mean, it's just...
Yeah.
It's so simple. It's just a father and a daughter. Yeah, it's like that simple story of wanting to keep your child safe when the whole world around you is falling apart. Like, what do you do? What does it take? I love it. And I love how claustrophobic it is. And dude, I love everything you guys said about 28 Days Later, but for whatever reason, I just have never really responded to it that strongly.
When did you see it for the first time?
Oh, like high school or college.
Had you seen other zombie things first?
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
I think so, because I also the first zombie thing I ever saw was Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island,
Yeah.
which was so scary.
Yeah.
Like
Actually,
inappropriately.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Holy shit! I forgot this
Like,
existed.
that was messed up.
That was crazy.
It was.
I forgot about
because
that
I was
movie,
like
man.
6, and my parents were like, "Oh, it's Scooby Doo. It's fine." Except this is the one where it's like, "Oh no, it's real. No, there's zombies,
Yeah.
and they're gonna die, and it's because of a voodoo curse." And I was like, "Wait, all this? What?"
That's interesting. Because you said earlier that they switched to zombie movies when they no longer would use like the supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because in a way, zombies are a lot like vampires.
Yeah.
They infect you by biting you, but vampires like take your life. The zombie turns you into a zombie or eats you, which is another interesting question. Like, why do zombies like the taste of human flesh? It doesn't really make sense. They should eat other meats as well.
I think in
Sometimes
later
they
canon,
do. It varies.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no rules, but
Blood,
they're not supernatural generally.
right?
They're generally like some technology gone wrong. Usually, often a medicine or a bioweapon.
Right. And
But this one was a voodoo curse.
it was a voodoo curse,
And it was like a kid's movie, and it was like, no, this isn't a kid's movie. This is to freak you the out, and you're just like, whoa.
because it's a curse because of ghosts. Remember this? Because it was like it was a doomed like captain that went down, and I think he was in love with this witch, and then the ghost came back and was eternal and was like living in one of the
Thing is,
people.
Yeah.
I don't think I made it all the way through it. I think I was.
They
too
did
scared.
have one of the dudes turn into a girl too, which was
I
kind
think
of
so.
funny, but
Yeah.
also really strange.
It was, but
Yeah.
that was
That was not a child appropriate movie.
no, and I remember being so scared, and that being like one of my very first real tastes of horror, and I watched it a bunch of times. I was like trying to figure it out, but that was right about when the ads for 28 Days Later started coming out, and just that indelible image of the eyes over the biohazard sign,
Yeah.
in like this weird inverted peace symbol.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it's so arresting seeing these blood red eyes looking at you,
Yeah.
and it says danger. And I remember seeing that, I don't know, in bits and pieces. It was like the most extreme movie I knew about for forever.
Yeah.
And when I finally saw it, it just wreaked its havoc on me. I was just asking just because I think,
Do you remember the scene when they finally figure out the zombies are real and like Fred tries to pull the mask off the zombie?
yeah,
And the man won't pull off, so he pulls off the whole head?
I do remember that.
I haven't thought of this movie in a decade. Like,
It's crazy.
that movie freaked me. I had nightmares.
I did too.
Yeah.
I was scared of zombies. Zombies were the scariest thing in the world to me for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I watched a lot of zombie movies, and now I'm not, but it's because I've seen more zombie movies than I've seen other horror movies.
That's amazing.
Just to like inoculate myself.
Yeah. So for me, after I was freaked out of all horror after watching Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island or Skull Island or whatever it
I think
was
it's
called.
Zombie Island, yeah.
The first horror movie I saw after that was Shaun of the Dead.
Oh.
Actually. And I had like avoided all horror movies until I was like 16 or something, because I was just so freaked out by these movies. And I was like, the zombies sound terrifying, but I was always kind of like interested in it. Walking Dead was
The
sort of
forbidden
around.
knowledge.
I was probably like 15 or 16 when I saw it. I was actually like, so the reason why I chose these movies is in each one of these is kind of like, it's been important to me, and just this genre as a whole is important to me. But Shaun of the Dead was sort of the entryway, because I think we must have watched it at like a Halloween party or something when I was in high school. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the funniest movie I've ever seen at the time. And it was hilarious. I was like, wait, maybe zombies can be fun. Maybe horror can be fun. And it sort of opened up this whole world. And I was trying to figure out like when it was actually that we saw it. I could have sworn it was with my sister.
Oh, wow.
But I texted her. No, I talked to her on the phone, and she was like, I would never watch something like that. So I think that I saw it with her, but she just doesn't want to. She doesn't want to admit it. I don't remember.
Call
who
her
I
out,
saw
man.
this
She
with.
doesn't listen to this anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, for which one? Shaun of the Dead?
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead. So this was the first one that I
Okay.
saw, and with this whole genre, I've been thinking, I guess, about what to do for this since we did your birthday episode, Jesse. Like what I wanted to do for my birthday episode. Seeing like what is a dad movie or what genre is a dad genre for me that wasn't something that was given to me by somebody. And I know I watched this with my friends. And I know it was in high school at some time, but I don't remember when exactly it was, but it kind of kicked off this whole love of the zombie genre that I didn't share with anyone in my family. Like my mom hates them, my sister hates them now at least. I'm pretty sure she saw it with me and loved it. I just like sought it out. I got like passionately addicted to The Walking Dead for years. I have seen more episodes than many people, although I'm not up to date. Can't wait to do that. And then I came across 28 Days Later, which just blew my mind. And that was, I mean, it was a crazy experience because the movie is a crazy movie. It starts off kind of like a normal zombie movie, and then it goes dark. And it starts off dark. It goes just way down to hell. And it's just an incredible exploration of that, sort of using this genre to I don't know, put you into uh I don't know.
Could you say it shows the truth of what zombie movies are really about?
Well, I think what
Or not? I don't know. I'll ask that as a question. Yeah, I don't know the answer.
I don't know if it shows you what it's really about. I know what part of they were trying to do was to make it feel like you were in like a coup d'etat in a third world country when the government's overthrown, and this is what happens when that happens. But except there's zombies as well, and it's horrifying. But at the same time, at the end of all of this horror and this brutality, there is hope, which is just it was a wild ride. It was terrifying, but also really victorious, I guess.
You want to know what's something really funny that's like a side note?
What?
Is that if you had taken out the reference to a specific movie, you just described the plot of the Suicide Squad? like the whole thing. That's just
Yeah,
the movie.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. And that was like in college, and that changed sort of the trajectory of like what I was watching and what I thought movies could do. And it got me sort of at the right time. So like Shaun of the Dead, I was a kid. I was hanging out with my friends in this movie about friends, but we're all getting older, and I was going off and I was going to boarding school at the time, and so we were sort of breaking up, and that's what that movie's about. Is about friendship and how to keep your friends. And then 28 Days Later is about this single guy sort of finding love in a totally ruined society, and that's what I was looking for in college. And Train to Busan is about a father and his daughter, and he's trying to get his daughter to his daughter's mother and fighting against all odds to get there. I saw that, it just came out in 2019. I've been a father since 2016. I just saw it last year. It's like each of these have hit me at a time. I've come to them at the perfect moment in my life where it resonates really, really fully, I guess.
And even Scooby Doo, perhaps. Too.
Even Scooby-Doo.
The dark horse from all of our childhoods. Yeah. The skeleton that we kept in the closet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Scooby Doo on Zombie Island is truly like the Ed. He's out in the garden shed, except that we don't want to hang out with him.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the truest zombie movie.
Maybe.
It
bit us early.
That's the one that gave it to us. Yeah.
That's a really good breakdown, though. I really like that.
Yeah.
That tour.
Yeah, it's like a very
amazing.
personal.
It's amazing.
And so this genre as a whole, it's something I guess that for me, like most of the other genres out there, like war or gangsters or cowboys, those are all things that are kind of handed down from fathers or father figures. This is something I found on my own, and I think a lot of people, maybe in our generation, did.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
Hmm.
it's more I don't know, culturally approved than it was, from the 60s and the 70s and the 80s now for people to have them. But it's kind of maybe the combination of apocalypse with the the undead. I don't know, but that's why I wanted to do these ones, is because that's sort of the meaning they held for me.
It's
Um,
I thought it was really funny when you said you were going to do zombie movies, because like you're not like a superhero or like super like trashy movie kind of person, and that's immediately what I think of zombie movies. I'm like, oh, it's going to be kind of a trashy movie,
Yeah.
kind of a fun time, right?
Yeah, that's like its legacy.
yeah,
Yeah. I don't associate that with Mike at all.
that's funny. I love trashy zombie movies as well.
But I mean, no, it's true. Like I know you're down for a good time, but I also know that if given the choice between a fun zombie time movie or something that's 3 hours long and unknown and in a different language, you will have a hard time picking.
That's true. That's true. Can I watch 2 of the fun zombie movies in the time it would take me to watch the unknown,
Absolutely.
different language?
Yeah, of course.
I'll go with the 2 zombie movies,
Okay.
probably. Most nights.
It just depends on if Brother Dave is there. We got to keep him away.
But like, I could fall asleep to these movies.
Yeah.
Well, not 28 Days Later. That's terrifying. And Train to Busan just like gets your heart going.
Yeah.
But it's like cozy chair time for these. You know what I mean? I don't know. Do you guys feel that also?
With not zombie movies specifically, but horror movies, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. I definitely feel that with zombie movies. I like I can either be really into them or they could just be background noise.
Yeah.
I don't even have an in between. It's either one or the other.
I recently found that Peacock, which we have so that my wife can watch The Office. Well, I can watch it too. I'm not going to just put that all on her. But it has besides for HBO Max, has the best horror library.
Really?
It's insane right now. It has almost every major franchise and many, many entries. Like even if you want to watch Leprechaun is on there. You want to watch Tales from the Hood? I was looking through it. I was like, holy shit, these are so hard to find anywhere else. But Peacock got all of them, and they're all there. And so I've been having a really fun time scrolling through them. And yes, I do own all the Nightmare on Elm Streets on DVD. I've been trying to watch all those. Horror is great. Horror makes me happy. And whenever there's a good zombie movie, I do love it. Actually, my biggest issue with the genre is now that I've done the major ones, the biggest ones, and as you start getting into the smaller ones, is that the smaller the movie, there's a reverse trajectory of how gross it is. So those smaller zombie movies are like, that's pretty gross.
Yeah, and that tends to be the case with all horror.
It can
not always. Sometimes a smaller one can be artsy, but sometimes they can just be more pornographic violence because they don't have anything else to give because there's no talent.
That's true. And I'm not even necessarily saying the violence is actually more. I'm saying that it's goopier. Is that the zombies get nastier, and the level of decay starts to rise. Like I just watched Day of the Dead, which is like kind of a slightly lesser known but still a classic. And when it starts, it says Day of the Dead, and it's focused on this guy standing in front of the frame, a zombie. He is missing half of his lower jaw and then most of his neck, and you watch as his tongue slides from the part of his mouth down out of his mouth down his neck and falls off of him.
That's awesome.
I was like, oh, that's pretty gross. You don't see that every day.
Wasn't that made in the 80s?
Yeah, 1985.
How did they do that?
1985. They could do it. There's moments where like a zombie would like roll over and then all of its guts would just fall out on the ground. And I was like, whoa.
Oh, nasty.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But anyway, no, I love zombie. I love horror. I love all this. And we could talk more about this in the future.
Yeah.
I really want to. But Jesse, Jesse or Jude, either one of you, did you have any unexplored nostalgia that you wanted to throw in? Anything else you want to mention? Any other movie or experience or memory?
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, like, I do have nostalgia for I Am Legend as well. I'll throw that out there. I remember seeing that and then, like, running through the streets and me and my friends being really stupid and acting like those stupid zombies. Oh, that was terrible. What a terrible time.
Not even a man, just a creature.
Yeah, not even close. Oh, so stupid. Yeah, Yeah, I don't know. Like, zombies have always been in my life. Like, zombies are always around. Like, remember Plants vs. Zombies?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, used to play that. In college, I
Huh.
got really into an app game called Rebuild. It's where, like,
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
yeah, it's like, it's crazy. You can win the game so many ways, and but you can also lose in so many ways, and one of the ways to lose, like, your entire population, like, thinks that it's their religion to, like, want to become zombies.
Wow.
It gets really dark and really crazy. But yeah, zombies have always been a part of my life, and I've always, I have crazy memories in every facet of pop culture with zombies.
Nazi zombies in
Nazi zombies.
in Call
COD.
of Duty.
Yeah.
Many late nights.
Oh yeah,
Wolfenstein. Castle
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein. Lots of Nazi zombies in
Wolfenstein.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to play a lot of Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2. No, but Left 4 Dead, Left 4 Dead 2. Like there was just that between 2008 and 2015, zombies was everything.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess Jude, did you have any?
I did just remember, I think when I saw Shaun of the Dead, I think it might have been in 7th grade.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I had never gone to school before. And it was early on in the year, and it was like one of my first sleepovers with a friend at his house. And I watched it with him and his dad. And so it was like, I don't know, an important becoming buddies with someone. I just remember being very touched by, because like I didn't know the kid very well.
Yeah.
I just remember being very touched by that, and that was the movie when that happened is interesting.
That's cool. Did you
enjoy it?
Yeah, no, it was hilarious. It was a great movie.
So even at 7th grade, it can still be liked.
It's hilarious. Like it's a funny movie. It's not.
Oh,
I don't know if I would have
horrifying.
gotten half the jokes.
I probably didn't. I should rewatch it. It's probably even better.
I
Because
did
I
when
probably
wa-
saw it
yeah.
again. But I don't remember.
That was one of the ones at college that was always just like on somewhere.
Yeah.
Like someone was watching Shaun of the Dead or someone was watching Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I actually saw that when I was like,
I think I did
16.
too, yeah.
And it
I
was my
remember
sister
that.
that showed me it.
Yeah.
It's like, this movie is awesome. You should watch it. And we sat down
That's
and watched
awesome.
Shaun of the Dead. It was great.
But maybe it was another movie. It was a long time ago.
And then I remember puking right after it was over because I got stomach flu. But so yeah.
Nice.
Just puking like a rage monster.
It's blood.
So disgusting. Makes sense though why everyone's faces was covered with blood once that happened. You're like, oh, right, okay, that's how you got infected.
Yeah.
Mike, so you have a nostalgic reason for liking these,
Yeah.
but why do you like these?
Why do I like these?
Why do you like zombies? Because zombies are gross.
Oh, yeah.
They're nasty. They're brutal. The movies are very violent and usually reprehensible and
Yeah.
grindhousey and basically the definition of can't show to parents.
Yeah.
Why do you like these?
Yeah.
What about the zombie is appealing?
I know. I've been thinking about that for 20 years. I don't know. I think that I think there's two aspects to it. It's always an apocalypse, right? And apocalypse movies are appealing because it's about survival and about like one man against the world.
It's a very dad thing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a very
Yeah.
dad thing. It's an American thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like they're all about like you have a family or a group, an actual family or group of people who have become a family who are trying to fend off the world, and you have to build these relationships and forge them. And they're about community.
Yeah.
And at least a lady.
Yeah, yeah. So that's one half of it. And I think that sort of core story, which you have with any apocalypse movie, is a part of that reason. But the zombie itself is like there's something really fascinating. There is something fascinating about zombies, right? Like the idea of a human being coming back from the dead is fantastic, right? Like how great would it be if all the people that we knew came back from the dead? Right? Like actually, like not as zombies, as like people, like all the people that we loved, not knew, maybe.
Yeah, that's
Like
better.
rose from the dead. I mean, that's something we all hope is going to happen, and we're all going to see each other again in the end. But to have this twist where it's like, no, they're not the people that you know. They just look like them, and what they really want to do is rip your throat out. That's terrifying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that line from Pet Cemetery, right? They came back wrong.
Yeah.
That's a spooky book.
Yeah.
Like an actually scary book.
Yeah. The ground is sour.
Oh yeah.
Gross. Yeah,
I think that's a part of it. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna rhyme with that. I think that's a huge part of it. Is like the people you know and love, like becoming something else, and then even like yourself. Like one of the things that's always scared me since like being a little kid is like turning into something else. Like even growing up to be an adult, that was always kind of like a weird thing for me. I remember I used to get like really depressed because I'm like, what about all the things that I like right now? Does that mean I won't like them when I'm an adult because adults don't like these childish things? That used to kind of terrify me. And zombies carry that same sort of scary mentality where they whether or not you want to, you will turn into them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can't stop it. It's inevitable. You get bitten and you know it's going to happen. And whenever I see that, I always get chills a little bit. Like that always scares me.
Wow.
That's cool. There's also something about like there's an othering too about it. Like you're like you go about your daily life and you kind of treat all the people in the world around you like zombies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes, you
isn't
do.
that true? I mean, like you're nice to them. They're not going to bite you, but like you kind of like, I don't know about like, I'm kind of like, well, I got to be careful. Like I got to make sure that
I'm always at least 30 to 35% convinced that someone that I don't know will probably want to hurt me.
Yeah.
Like it's always like a slight bordering on minor suspicion. Like,
I sit with my back to the wall, not the window.
Yeah.
Not the door.
And like, well, I'm not gonna be one of those weird people that needs like combat ready, but but like I went to the park with my daughter earlier, and yeah, definitely there's definitely some COVID fear about it too, because when it started, that did change things for everybody.
Yeah.
We just didn't know like how bad this was going to be, and it's turned out to be fairly bad. But you still don't know, and plus, I hated getting sick before that happened. And so I hated coming in contact with strangers anyway. One of the worst experiences I had, and one of the best days of my life, was when I spent a day with my wife and my brother-in-law in New York City. And the worst time I had there was having to ride the subway. It was awful. There were so many people touching me all at one time. And I was sitting there, I was like, I'm getting sick. I can feel it happening. I know it's occurring. This lady's like, my nose is like in her ear because of how close we are. And I did get sick. I don't know if like I made myself sick or I truly did, but I could almost feel the germs going into me.
It's amazing.
And so I'm afraid of infection.
That's interesting, your take, we treat those who we don't know who we encounter when we go around the world as if they were zombies. I think you see this sort of being shown in Shaun of the Dead insofar as you can replace a bunch of people's jobs with actual zombies and nothing changes.
Oh yeah.
At least that's one way to look at the world.
Yeah.
Let's say.
Yeah.
I think I too treated and looked at many of the people, not like my close friends, but like, you go to McDonald's or the grocery store. Do you notice the people, anyone there? But I've never been a neurotic person, so I've never had much fear of anyone.
Thanks, Jude.
Well, but
you're so not neurotic about getting infected. Go lick a lamp pole.
Yeah, but
hey, don't tell him that he might.
But I think this in part led to, well, I would ignore things that were actually dangerous. Is like the other problem with that. There's extremes to everything, but just not seeing other people, like not looking at them as if they're an actual person. Like when you're with your friends, you like say hello and smile and acknowledge their presence as a person. But to say we treat the world as if everyone in it is a zombie is not maybe the way to look at it. But also,
it's not good.
Then the question would be, what is the truth about the way that the world is? Like Jesse was talking about, this fearing, I'm going to grow up and be a boring ass adult. In other words, I fear growing up and becoming a zombie like
Yeah.
all the other adults I see are. And so, in a sense, it's not cool to treat the world like everyone is a zombie. But in another sense, everyone in the world, or many of them, actually are zombies, quote unquote. And so this is super fascinating.
Slaves to the
Yeah.
power, man.
Well, isn't that like
Yeah.
isn't that the,
Yeah.
like the fear that Jesse's sort of talking about too? Is like the idea like if you get bit, you become a zombie, and maybe like it's playing into that fear that you're a zombie all along. I I guess it's like we treat them like drones more than zombies.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's what like the Shaun of the Dead zombie is. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'd never even considered that it's that particular thing that I'm scared of changing into. But I always just fear change. Period.
Yeah.
Like if you change, then always that's fearful.
Okay.
Also,
but-
not a fan of change over here. Yeah,
Yeah,
no way.
yeah. I don't like it. I don't like doing it. It's always
Stop it. Take it back.
yeah.
Make everything always be the same way forever.
If
But,
we could all
like-
just stay our current ages and just keep watching new movies, but we don't age and our families stay the same, that would be cool.
That
Yeah.
would be nice.
But this fear that you're describing with like becoming a zombie, a mindless drone. Yeah. That as an adult I now have that fear.
That's interesting. It actually like I'm gonna be stupid pretentious, but it's my birthday. Like, have you guys read that David Foster Wallace little his
Is There Water?
This Is Water? Yeah.
This is
Yeah. yeah.
It's the
The graduation
speech he gave at a graduation. It's a wonderful
Oh, that I remember that.
it's a wonderful little speech, but like it's all about that. And it's all about like
Yeah.
struggling against that. Because I think that it's really easy to just like go through your life or just like we kind of can't realize the humanity of anybody else to a certain degree. And life is, sort of this process of like recognizing that other people are also like being crazy in their heads the way we are all day long. And humans and whatever. And it's this process that like maybe when we get there is when we die. I don't know. But it's kind of like that with zombie. And like, so with these three, we've got like these three very different sorts. Well, not totally different sorts, but we got like the drone zombies in Shaun of the Dead. And we've got like the rage monsters in 28 Days Later and Train to Busan. And that's like, like sometimes you walk around and you're just like, oh man, everyone's a zombie just doing everything all day the same way. That's kind of Shaun, like looking at the world. He thinks that, but he's also acting that way. Like they've got that shot, that shot when he like walks out in the morning. He's like, it's hilarious.
It's so good.
My favorite part from that is that he goes in and puts the money down,
Yeah.
right? And he doesn't have enough. He says he owes some.
Yeah.
And when they decide to make their getaway and get in the car, the shop owner is coming out and his hand is out.
Yeah.
He's like walking towards the car with his hand out, like you owe me more money. But he's a zombie.
Yeah. But there's also the fear that you're actually the rage monster. I feel like, I don't know, as you
I'm for
become
sure
an
the rage
adult.
monster. I'm for sure the rage monster.
It's that you're just trying to tear other people apart.
Yeah.
You're afraid that other people are just that as well. And in certain times in your
Yeah.
life as a parent or someone, you sort of look at the world that way and you're trying to protect your family against it. I don't know.
Before we move on, I just, based on the Quiet Place Part 1 episode,
Yeah.
where you guys, actually it's not Quiet Place Part 1, it's A Quiet Place. And the second one is A Quiet Place Part 2. It's not retroactively called Part 1. It's just A Quiet Place. That's number 1. But number 2,
Are you sure?
yes.
I feel like we should talk
it's,
about this more.
just like
It
it's
was
not the
the first of
Godfather
the
Part
Quiet
1.
Place movies. Though,
I know,
right?
but it's not. It doesn't have the subtitle. It's not the title of the movie.
I feel like
It's not the Godfather Part 1. It's the Godfather, and then the Godfather Part 2.
So it's the
Interesting.
Very
first
clear.
of the Quiet Place movies is the Quiet Place,
It's A Quiet Place.
which is the first.
That's the first one.
Yeah.
so a
or-
quiet place first.
We call it A Quiet Place. At least in,
I know,
in
I know.
the title, and then but later in the movie,
And the second one is
Yeah.
called A Quiet Place
Part
2
2.
or Part 2
Yeah,
is Part 2.
Part 2.
So the first one is Part 1.
It's not.
Well,
'Cause
then why
it's
you
not
can,
the
if there's
official
a
title.
hole, then there's
It's
parts.
not the official title.
Because they
But
didn't
it
think
is
that it was
part
going to
one.
do that well, so they weren't planning to make a part 2.
I am
They didn't call their
purposely
shots.
being annoying.
But
I know,
If
you're
you
doing a great
can't
job.
tell.
That's really great.
Second
It's really
thing,
great. I would have
I
done
did
that
see
too. if you
brief
hadn't.
interviews with Hideous Men,
Oh,
and it's
Oh.
terrible. And don't watch it. John Krasinski says, "Hey, what if I adapted this series of essays and some fiction, some non, and I just shot a bunch of actual interviews with Hideous Men." And then what if they said these lines in this book? And what if I like kind of made the movie that? It's very bad. It's almost unwatchable. I remember watching it and I was like, oh, yeah, no, it's up its own ass. Yeah. We need to call the doctor because it's missing its head. I think it's in its sphincter. But I just wanted to mention those two things.
He was trying real hard to break out of gym, and I think he has.
No, but he has forged another identity parallel.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
It's got to have the beard, but
it's like, Woody Harrelson is Woody Harrelson. But he's also Woody from Cheers. Will he ever not be Woody? No, he won't. But he's also Woody Harrelson. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. Anyway, I just wanted to do those two things while I remembered before we moved on to something else.
We're talking about zombies. We're talking about.
Well, what about the monster? Can we say what about the monster? Like, it feels like. And maybe this is just maybe it's just a fad, and we're kind of like leaving it. It kind of feels like we're leaving the zombie fad. Although we've got Train to Busan that just came out a couple of years ago.
I think the supply
Army of
is
the Dead and the whole series built off of that.
And it's not
soon.
zombies. It's not zombies, Jesse. Remember, they have babies.
They have babies,
but maybe they won't in
zombies.
some of them. I don't know.
Well, the next one is going to be about the army of thieves. No dead in sight. Just thieves.
Well, no undead.
What is this
in sight.
series?
That's right.
I imagine
don't
some
know.
people will die.
But the thing is that the supply has I think matched the demand.
Yeah,
And so if you want zombies, you can look anywhere and you'll find it.
that's true.
And it'll be any kind of zombie that you want.
Yeah.
And there's no more of that like having to wait around. Like Zombieland was the first funny zombie movie since Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
And it took years for that to come out. And then that was all that we had. It was just that and Shaun of the Dead. And
The Walking Dead has been going on and has been the most popular. Like,
but I mean in that particular thing.
Oh, gotcha.
But
Yeah,
now there's
yeah,
a bunch of zombie comedies. Now there's a bunch of
Warm
serious zombie
Bodies.
things.
yeah, Warm
Warm
Bodies
Bodies.
was in there.
Yeah.
That was
somewhere.
nice. I like that.
The zombie rom-com.
Yeah.
So maybe what you're saying, it is passing, but I think we're at a plateau.
And
Yeah.
so it'll just come when someone has a good story idea or something like that.
Yeah.
Or a franchise that's
Well-
making, or who knows.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm wondering though, like,
It's not necessarily a big deal to make a zombie movie.
yeah.
But what
But
are you wondering? Sorry.
Is there like a staying power to them that maybe other monsters haven't had? Like we haven't seen Frankenstein in a long time.
Yeah. which is
Right. We haven't
interesting.
seen. I don't know.
I think that we are not interested in curses anymore as a culture. I don't think that curses, dark occult magic, that kind of like otherworldly thing is fun anymore. I
What
don't
about
think
like
that
all
has,
the possession movies? Like there's a lot of
there's
possession movies.
That's not
aren't there?
magic.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's demons.
Yeah.
And demons is different than curses.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you guys remember that was like a demon movie that was super. They made like 7 of them, but they filmed it. I'm forgetting. the
Paranormal
name.
Activity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah. Cool demon movie. But like if
I don't
you-
like demon.
But if you
movies.
think about
Yeah,
when I say like curses, like werewolves, that's a curse. Mummies, that's a curse.
Oh, I see.
Vampires,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
a curse.
Yeah.
Like these are things that have their eldritch beginnings that come from the devil or they come from some magician, right? Frankenstein is like man's creation. That's kind of been subsumed into zombies.
Mhm.
And aliens run concurrently with zombies as we're talking about because they're both other. They both don't like us. They both want to kill us. And it just matters like whether it's scaly and a creature or if it's goopy and a dead human.
Well, there's
And-
and also intelligence and instinct.
There can be. Yeah.
And all those things have also plateaued. They plateaued many years ago to the point where it takes like a real gem in order to shine.
Although there
So,
was recently a really.
Yeah.
A good Frankenstein. No, a good Dracula.
Really?
Dracula
The dude who
Untold.
did the Sherlock series has like a 3-part.
The BBC thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did hear about that. I
Oh,
heard that was supposed to be
yeah.
good.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's good. Yeah,
But
vampires
that's the
are
exception.
still vampires
Yeah,
are
yeah.
exceptional. They've stuck around.
Yeah, in like little like a sine wave kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like they
We've
go
got
down.
Buffy, and then we've got Twilight, and now we're gonna have something.
We had the Vampire Diaries that was a huge deal.
Oh,
We
yeah.
had True Blood that was a huge
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
But like it has to exist in it seems like TV. TV is where vampires go.
Mm.
I mean, the Twilight series was huge, and that was on TV and in books.
Yeah, but it was almost 15 years ago.
Was it really?
The books were.
Oh yeah.
The books were, and then the
I guess
movies
so.
ended like 7 years ago, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
You're so old, guys.
But I'm just like, if we're tracking things, zombies have steadily stayed here, and other things have blipped and blipped and blipped.
Yeah,
But as long as zombies have been around, they've always risen.
Yeah, but remember that there used to be the Universal monster universe, like a long time ago. It had Dracula and the Wolfman and Frankenstein, and they would all show up in their movies together. Like, I used to watch a lot of those like monster movies when I was growing up. Like, they were a part of my life, and suddenly they weren't, because they weren't really in a lot of movies. You didn't really see a lot of movies about mummies all of a sudden.
They fell away.
Unless Brendan Fraser was in it.
I think we lost touch, though. I think we lost touch with the things that scared us. Like, I think that zombies are scary because they're immediate. They're about infection. We're all very aware of infection and have been for. I mean, there have been plagues that have been going around that aren't COVID that people are scared of, that have been happening for a while.
Yeah, that's true.
I think diseases are really scary in a civilized world where maybe we don't have space for religion or magic, and where that stuff isn't as interesting to us. It's like science. That's what's scary.
There's something like psychological about zombies, a psychological aspect to the zombie that maybe, I don't know, does Frankenstein have that? Now he seems campy. Like I say Frankenstein, I'm like, he got camp.
When would that have, like, I can't even imagine when that would have been scary. Like, that was never frightening to me, even as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same
This
here.
is why 28 Days Later was scarier, and why, here's a hypothesis as to why 28 Days Later was actually scary, and Scooby-Doo was really freaky. 28 Days Later was actually scary because this showed, and both of them are showing one sort of truth about reality that the zombie movie is latching onto, and this is why people like it. The 28 Days Later shows that, like, one of the real dangers is the evil within you, and that the zombie movies are a kind of an image of this, but a really weird one, because the zombie is dumb. The zombie is dead. The zombie is kind of actually a super boring monster. Like, they don't have much intelligence. They're drones. And so it's not usually that scary, actually. It's more just a kind of a sad monster. And then
Pitiable, yeah.
But we like the movies in a way because it shows a kind of escape from that through an apocalypse where, say, the technological field gets leveled and then you form community with your friends. And so this is something that people are attracted to. It's not the zombies as monsters. It's that the world is zombie, but in the zombie movies, the zombies come and show that the world is zombie, but the world is reset, and then you can escape being a drone person in your little community. Whereas the Scooby-Doo, this is like the evil without, if you will, that we no longer, like you're saying, have any interest in even. Like, perhaps you don't want to have too much interest in those things. This is why, like, I also don't like demon movies. Like, there's something that's just like too much with things like that.
I do want to add to your point. Both counts, actually. But I'm sorry if I'm jumping in before anyone else. But on the case of the one about the community and wanting to, fight the evil within and band together with your friends, there's also a fun thing that I think that people love about zombie movies is that it allows you to enact extreme violence upon those who oppose you. As long as they're zombies. Or if they endanger you. You can eliminate your enemies completely guilt-free. And so that's one point I'd like to stick with there because I want to talk about that. But the second point,
they've been dehumanized in a way.
Yeah,
even though
they're not.
They were people, but they're not people anymore.
I can take revenge on the visage, even if the person is no longer there. So that's one. And then the other thing too, I want to just finish the point about where horror might be going if it's going away from zombies. I think that we are going back to demon horror. I think that's really the movement. That's still something that people are very frightened of because it can be anything you want it to be. But even there, like this year, we just saw The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, which is the third in The Conjuring, which had been like the mainstays. It's like, that's prestige, like fun horror. Not, like Hereditary, which is also demons. But The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It it's based on a real life case where someone murdered people and then tried to argue that he was possessed. It's super irresponsible to make a movie about that real life story. and the movie is very poorly made. But it's funny that even there, it's already starting to question itself. Like, all right, so we made 2 Conjuring movies. Demons showed up, possessed people. It was really scary. Bad shit happened. But this guy, I don't know. He didn't seem to want to do it. Maybe let's question whether or not devils exist or whether they don't. Let's try this case in court. But I think that we are moving back to that because that, apart from sickness, still scares us. Demons may as well be sickness, right?
Yeah.
Because they're unpredictable. They can jump at you at any point. They can make you do things you didn't know. I see them being very similar.
Or try to make it.
It's interesting.
So I just wanted to tie that one up before we continue talking about zombies.
That's really interesting.
You guys have more to say.
No. That's fascinating.
I will just. Well, I guess this is really adding, but I'm sad that werewolf movies aren't a thing anymore. I really want to see more werewolf movies.
Like Van Helsing when he turns into a werewolf and beats the shit out of Dracula.
Wait, is that's the Hugh Jackman one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Witcher, who's
the
White
Witcher.
Wolf. I love
The
The Witcher.
Witcher's so badass.
The Witcher is badass.
Is the Witcher show any good?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a trashy Game of Thrones.
I really love it. I really love the music in that.
The
show
music's
a
really
lot.
good.
Better music than Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, actually.
I don't know.
But like seriously, it is like a trashy Game of Thrones. Like it's so much more fun than Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But
And
it's like
Polish is like super ironic.
Yeah.
Now that I know he turns into a werewolf, I have to watch it.
Not
no.
The Witcher. Van Helsing does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Witcher
What's
doesn't.
the Witcher name?
The Witcher is like
He's known as
already
the
a
werewolf.
mutant.
Yeah.
He
He took the mutagens. Wow, this got nerdy.
Have
He's,
you played those games?
he's essentially like he's been created to hunt down okay, so
Beasts.
the world
and it was
there's multiple there's multiverses and at some point they collided. Do you know this?
I do.
But
Good.
I want to
Do
hear
you
what
know
you have to
this?
say, but I want to add before.
Yes,
Is
This
this
show
Lords
is
of the
the,
Witchers or
the most
multiverses?
watched show on Netflix when it came out. So whatever
Really?
it was is something that is appealing to people now.
Yeah.
But then say what it was.
Well, so there what's it called again? Like the fractured, the alighting.
Yeah, it's something like
It's something like that.
bullshit
It's
like that.
yeah, it's not.
Fractured or the
But it's
Alighting?
kind of a cool idea. And so like there's all of these monsters that are now in this universe, and there's elves, and like everything's kind of messed up. And there's all like it's a fascinating sort of start to this universe because there's humans and there's like the non-humans
and
there's
nobody knew
monsters.
they didn't know each other. It just happened one day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just happened.
Oh,
like,
cool.
Like all of
Okay.
a sudden, like these two universes exist together, and they're like, "What the hell?"
It super sucks for everyone.
yeah.
Yeah, everything's a
Yeah.
total mess. And they're all like proud. It's great. So Witchers were created to hunt down and kill the very dangerous monsters that live throughout the lands now.
I'm gonna have to cut all this out, aren't I?
Maybe. So it's Game of Thrones, but from the perspective of like a monster slayer.
Yeah,
He doesn't really care about anything.
No royal. He like could
He's
give
like
a fuck
200
about the
years
royal.
He
old.
just
too.
wants
He's
money.
Yeah.
He just wants money.
Oh,
That's
that
it.
sounds-
He
that
wants
sounds
to
like a
kill things
lot of
for
fun.
money.
And
Yeah.
not even like a ton of money. He just
It's like
wants
a little
enough
bit
to
of
like
money.
do nothing.
It's like his motivations make no sense. He wants to hang out with his friends.
Yeah.
Sometimes
He has
he's
sex.
kind of just doing
he
it.
has
out
a
of habit.
lot of sex.
Yeah, he's a sexy beast.
Yeah.
He also says a
Yeah,
lot, which I like a lot.
It's-
Okay,
it's so
that a lot,
great.
too.
Can I ask why we're on The Witcher? Because I had mentioned werewolves.
Monsters.
He hunts werewolves? Then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's-
Sometimes a lot of the monsters are taken from like they're the traditional monsters.
Is it- what is
and
it-
a lot
is
of
it-
them like Eastern European. Folklore.
There's like one of the DLCs for Witcher, the Wild Hunt is a werewolf, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and then the other one is the vampire, right? It's blood. It's blood and wine, and
I
then
don't
like
know.
iron and stone or
I
whatever.
forget
I'm
if one was
I'm
a
like
werewolf.
3/4 of the way
There's a
through
lot of
two.
werewolves in it. There's all the monsters are. in
There's
it.
all the
That's
monsters.
great.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
great.
sorry. This is a huge.
It's so much
sidetrack.
fun. You have 2 swords.
You do.
It's great.
One is good for some monsters, and one is good for people
Yeah.
or humanoids. Because you're not actually a human. I'm sorry. We should stop.
It's really fun
You're a werewolf.
to think about. Okay.
So anyway, so what I was trying to do is, so if we tied up a conversation about horror, I wanted to go back to what Jude was saying about the community and why this is appealing.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to bring us into a conversation about violence and
In gore.
and gore.
Yeah.
Oh, let's do it.
These
in
are gory
zombies.
movies. Is there gore in zombie movies?
A little bit,
A little
Yeah.
a little bit.
bit. Here and there.
Like part of the fun of zombie movies, I would argue, like a large part of the fun is the destruction
Oh, yeah.
of these
Yeah,
grotesque
like with
shapes.
a chainsaw. It's
Yeah.
a trope.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird.
And it's actually, I wanted to share this because that's one of the big reasons why I love zombie movies
Or an
is
axe.
because of Scooby-Doo Zombie Island, but also because my dad likes zombies a lot.
Yeah.
And so we watched a lot of zombie stuff. He loves monsters in general. So we watched a ton of all zombie monsters, whatever. And I had a very distinct memory of sitting down with him and watching Night of the Living Dead. And he did it right. We started it at like 10 p.m. and he popped popcorn. He turned off all the lights. And it's a grimy, like little black and white movie. The sound is bad. The color's bad. And we just watched the whole thing. And that was the third time I was scared at a zombie movie, was watching that with my dad. And I was like 15 or 16 years old. It shouldn't have worked, but the atmosphere was perfect. And that's what really got me into them, was seeing the dread of it. When a movie can make you feel dread, that's really cool. And that one did it just right. But the violence was also something I had not expected, because we'd watch a lot of monster movies and people get ripped apart or whatever. But this is the encroaching of the horde, and you can beat at them and smash them and shoot them in the head and stab them, do whatever you can think of. And if you're lucky, you'll kill them, but you probably won't. You'll whack off an arm. Well, they don't have an arm now. Whack off a leg. Well, they don't have a leg. And so this like dismemberment and destruction of the human body is really appealing. And I think it's absolutely essential. It's in the DNA of zombies. You need blood. You need gore. You need this to be violent, because like Warm Bodies barely functions as a zombie movie. It's like on the line of like, I guess so. It's not zombie enough. They can't just be like grayed out teenagers, because this is a degenerative illness. This is something that your body rots. It's not like when you're a zombie, you are now in that state. You will start to fall apart.
You're no longer like a whole, a zombie. You're like a corpse. Let's say an actual corpse is no longer one thing anymore.
Yeah, it's falling
because the
apart.
soul is gone. Let's say.
Yeah.
So it's starting to fall apart. But when you reanimate the corpse, it continues not even to be one thing. And so like it's a view of,
it's like an impulse.
It's like maybe it's ambiguous. You could say it's presenting a view of the body where the body isn't really a whole. So you can cut off the arm, it doesn't matter. Cut off the head, it doesn't matter. It's just a bunch of parts connected accidentally.
Yeah.
This is the zombie. Or it's presenting a view of man where if you become a zombie, this is the way of looking at man, where he's full of parts and not a whole. Where the very fact that the zombie is something different than the characters shows that there's some understanding that man is a whole and that the body is important.
Yeah.
Because there's something deep here with the body. I don't know exactly what it is. This is some beginnings of guess at it.
Yeah, if zombies were able to be whole still, if they were able to retain all their guts and all their skin, then they would essentially, I don't think it would be as scary. They would essentially become vampires. That's what vampires are, right?
Well, actually, you know what it is? They turn into that movie with Donald Sutherland. That's the other adaptation of The Thing, where it's the thing that travels through people, right? They become mindless, but they don't rot. They're a part of something else.
Yeah.
This thing takes them over, and their only desire is to assimilate. It's literally the world's end.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Ooh, is World's End also a zombie movie then?
Pretty much. Yeah, they're techno alien zombies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or actually, I'm sorry, no, they're squishy Eggmen. Okay.
Squishy egg.
But isn't the difference though, like there is a hive mind that controls them in that one? I don't really remember.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no. But there's a lot of ways you can do it. But
Right,
the thing that
right.
makes it a zombie, right, which is what Jesse and Jude are saying, is that what I'm advocating for this too,
Yeah.
is that there must be disintegration. There must
Yeah.
be decay.
Yeah.
And if you don't have disintegration, you need a grandiose mind, either your own, kind of like a vampire, or the outside hive mind coming in.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
You have to. in order to start losing body parts, it's like you have to be mindless. And that's the only way this fits.
That's interesting.
Or to be mindless, the only way to have that is to lose body parts. I think that's the reason why we have this sort of gore in zombie movies.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a better way to phrase it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But then the violence too is also, I find, perhaps troubling, especially if you're viewing it as like everyone else in the world is a drone. Because
you're taking like a baseball bat and bashing
somehow
heads
like the dullness of life, which the drone as the zombie represents, somehow that leads to a kind of resentment that plays out violently. This is a hypothesis. Like I can't make the connections between those
I think
two things
extreme violence must be meted out upon those who are mindless.
Yeah,
the imperative, and it's only an imperative because the mindless want you to be that too.
Yeah,
and they will harm you to get it, and therefore they must be crushed with extreme prejudice.
Yeah, like unfortunately, this like reminds me of like mass shootings.
Yeah,
like those people think they're better than everybody else. In a way.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot wrong.
But this,
with
what this does is it actualizes that. That could be seen as a mental illness, that could be seen as something cognitively disordered inside of somebody.
Yeah.
And what the zombie movie does is it actualizes it and says, no, you're right. That there is something virulent here, and it does need to be squashed. And now you have the right, and nay, not the right, the godforsaken duty to do it.
Yeah.
And therefore the violence feels so good because it's completely pardoned and encouraged.
Yeah. I think that a lot of these movies also do like show that side as well. Like 28 Days Later shows, like the military people, they're the sort of people who are like, well, everyone's fully othered. There's no sense of unity between you and another person. So I can do whatever I want to them.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the bad guys, right? And the good guys are the ones who retain that sense of connection to other humans and fight for that in that environment. I think that, I don't know, that's what I like about them mostly. I love though, like the freedom to take out the bad guys with, it's like the bad guys are so clearly evil. There's no possible motivation of goodness in them.
That guy's a zombie.
Yeah.
Like, well, how do you know?
Like,
look
even
at him.
alive. It's not even as bad as killing a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about like Russell Crowe in 3:10 to Yuma, like he's the bad guy, sort of. But you see his character, and you're conflicted about it.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, oh man, should this guy, is he the bad guy? And there's a whole other story there. I don't know. That's the first thing that came to mind for me.
Yeah. With zombies, it's like this built-in thing where as soon as they're on screen, they can be killed. Whereas with any other monster, like that we've even mentioned,
that is interesting.
You have to question whether or not they should die. Like, maybe the mummy should come back to life. Like, the movie has to present that case. You don't have to present that case with zombies. It's just like, I think it's an easier story to tell in that way too.
And maybe there's like I think a lot of things have many reads. So,
thank you.
Given the technological origins of the zombies, and like this weird a question I have is like, are the zombies the undead? What the hell does undead mean? And then, or are they the living dead, or are they something else? So that's a side question.
Undead, and they must be re-deaded.
Right. In a way, maybe like the undead could signify some like they're not even alive.
Oh, for sure.
They're not. They're like even beyond dead. They're like dead, undead, dead, whatever. I don't know, but it's like they're the
too dead, too deader.
They're an enemy which isn't even like a dog.
Yeah,
they're like they're like rocks.
Yeah,
and in a way, that is the enemy when it comes to things like the dangers of technology. It's like, this is an enemy which is so pathetic.
Like the idea that technology is turning you into a zombie.
Right. It's like, you shouldn't feel any guilt about smashing a computer. Like in
you wouldn't smash a computer.
Or,
you wouldn't kill a zombie.
Zoolander. It's great when he throws a computer. It's like no one gives it. It's like, it doesn't matter because it doesn't actually matter because it's not even alive.
It's not a person.
Yeah.
to bring that thought to like full circle, I think with the idea of like the zombies created by like the government overlords or the aliens or whatever, I think we've been like sort of skirting around this is this is something that's not supposed to happen. It's been done by evil people at a high level or inept people at a high level.
Right.
And we watch their ineptness sort of create the problem and then fall apart because of the problem they created immediately.
Yeah.
With the whole world falling apart and turning people from being empathetic human beings to completely other and wanting to like eat you, to take you apart. So it's like the over. It's always going to be that sort of. I don't know. It seems like at least with the best ones, there's that sort of statement about society. And
Wait. So you're telling me I watched 6 Resident Evil movies and you just laid it out?
That's all about what's her name?
Alice.
Draconovich lady.
Mia Jovovich.
Yeah.
But it's the Umbrella Corporation that does this. Yeah.
Right.
So then talking about the violence.
Yeah.
So there's because it's right. There's because you must. And thirdly, this is outside of it as viewers, because practical effects are really cool.
Yeah.
And it's really cool watching these things happen on screen. It's like what we talked about with my birthday episode about dance, choreography, violence in film.
Yeah.
Some things are just cool.
Yeah, and this is going back to ancient times.
Yeah.
Like you read the Iliad, there's a lot of violence, and it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
There's beauty in the violence. And in this one, you could argue there's beauty. It would be difficult. What you couldn't argue is that it's fun. It's just fun,
It's really
Jan.
fun. Dude, I'm gonna put something out there. I think zombie movies are kind of like fairy tales. Because the protagonist is always just a normal person. And they're in a very abnormal universe. And they have to use they don't have magic, they don't have superpowers. They just have to use their brains, which are normal, and their muscles, which are usually normal for the protagonist, to get through the zombie hordes and, return home having changed or something.
Yeah.
And even the weapons kind of show this.
Yeah.
Also, a common like fairy tale trope is to like fight that with like yourself somewhere else, right? Like that, a part of yourself that you hate, like manifesting itself, and that would be the zombies, which is why I think it's so great to kill them.
Yeah.
It's so much fun to kill them. It's so satisfying.
Yeah.
Are you killing the id or the ego?
Something about moms.
Are you killing your mom?
Well, in Shaun of the Dead, yes.
You killed my mom.
You killed Barbara. That's why it needs violence, because it's a fairy tale. Fairy tales are disgustingly and violent, right? Like they're wildly crazy. And
Yeah.
You got to make it kind of like, I don't know. I think that like
to add to your point, it's always about the hero journey, like the self-actualization through the baptism of blood and standing up to the thing you're afraid of. Like, like at the end of Zombieland, right? What's he afraid of? Clowns. He has to kill a clown zombie. Even to take like another Steven Yeun movie, that movie Mayhem, which is kind of like zombies. Everyone gets infected with a rage virus. And they can't help but kill each other. Even though they're fully in control of their faculties. And it's in an office building. But he sucks as a person. And then through the movie, he stops sucking less because he gets more confident because of the rage. It's pretty. Most of the movies are like this, except for the really realistic ones, right? Like the George A. Romero ones, which are very bleak, dystopian, apocalyptic views on humanity and how it can't get better. And we must continue striving, even though we will always lose. So it's like, fairy tale over here, cautionary tale over here.
Well, those cautionary tales. I mean, there's a lot of fairy tales. A lot of Grimm's fairy tales don't end so great for the protagonist.
Right.
One would say they ended grimly.
Ooh, nice one. Yeah.
This being your birthday episode.
Yeah.
Is there any other question that you would like to cover?
I don't think so. Well, I guess I'd want to ask, do you guys want to do any of these movies as an episode in the future?
Yeah.
I think that I would love to do the Cornetto trilogy.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yes.
I think that would be fun.
Oh yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you want to do that?
No, I had
Edgar
a
Wright.
thought.
Oh, what's your thought?
It was about what Jesse said about the zombie is like, it's good to kill the zombie because it represents like the drone in you, and you kill the drone in you. So it's like ends up being very Hegelian.
Yeah.
But I've been reading Hegel for one of my classes, and I think that this hypothesis explains why you were saying there's like maybe a return to spirit in movies, in like the monster movies, coming back, with like The Witcher being an example, perhaps, and how appealing that was. Hegel talks about, he's so hard to understand. I don't understand Hegel, but
Maybe we should.
But
we should avoid Hegel.
No, I could,
for our movie podcast.
Yeah, but so
he can land this ship.
Hegel.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I want to see the ship land.
I mean, I love Hegel.
He talks about like various stages in history, and then they like negate themselves to get to the next thing.
Yeah.
Often the stages have two sides. The stage that he describes, which I think describes our world, also has two sides. And the one side is the way, and he characterizes it as like vain enlightenment philosophy. So like modernity, where like we have all this power over nature and etc. The other side, oddly enough, in this stage is God of the Muslims, where it's like pure will. Why are these the two sides? Because in the one, like, you just have like the object as totally the ruler, and you cease to really mean anything as a subject. In the modernity side, though, the subject like enters into itself way too much, and you get like no actual object out there. And so like the world ceases to have any meaning or truths, and you're like lost in a sort of empty freedom, an arbitrary empty freedom. You could say that
so these are the two distinctions that you're saying Hegel
two
is making.
sides of one stage. When you have this sort of empty freedom, technology kind of goes hand in hand with it, because technology is just like, we're just going to do shit to the world to make stuff, and we don't care if it's good or bad. We're just going to do it because the logic of the technology progresses. Anyway, these stages, he's describing them then, but he says they're going to get negated and have like the age of the spirit. He thinks this is like the wisdom of philosophy. It doesn't matter. But I think you could say the fact that in the zombie movies, you have the drone as the other, and the drone is like a technological enemy, and that this has been seen as the enemy. And then that if you think about it the way Jesse described it, as the drone as the other has now been othered, and we've recognized that that's the enemy. And so now we kill it. And so you're negating that negation and somehow returning back to spirit.
Two negatives make a positive.
Yeah. And so it's very hopeful. Because it's like, we didn't see that this was the enemy before. Now we see that it's the enemy. And then zombie movies are often hilarious. And yes. I think this is a good sign when the enemy becomes the laughing matter.
When you began talking about Hegel, I was like, who's this Hegelian here? But now you've landed your saucer. And it turns out it's a pretty comfy place to be.
Yeah. That was cool. That was a good trip. I really
made sense.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, thank you for breaking that down. I never read the guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's impossible to understand. Like,
I mean, all three of you guys did, but
did we?
I don't remember a damn thing he said. Something about self-othering.
Yeah.
Well, he broke it down.
Yeah.
He did.
He thought he was God, didn't he?
No.
I think he thought he was God.
No, he did not.
Jude's like, no, absolutely not.
Well, I want to go to maybe a final question here for you guys, if that's okay. Do you think we're ready to go there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is okay. So my question is, we always end every episode about a single movie. Is this movie a dad movie? I don't want to ask that about these ones, because I think we can see them all in their own their own series someday.
Yeah.
And we'll ask that question later. But do you think zombie movies is a dad genre? And maybe say a little bit about why you think that. I don't know. Jesse.
Yeah. Zombies are absolutely a dad genre for, I think, everything that we've mentioned here. It's really cool. It's a commentary on culture. It now become kind of like zombie movies have become somewhat historical little relics. Like watching like Night of the Living Dead. It's just like, oh, that's it was a real dad moment. Like, yes, this is a history of film that has become solidified for all time. So I need to see this movie, even though I don't really like it. Right?
Yeah.
But like
and that ending. Ugh.
Yeah, and then the ending, and then it's like, oh, this ended a little different than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, yeah, it's a huge part of my life. And just with zombies, you can talk about so much. You can talk about like philosophy and and your deepest, darkest fears and self-othering, like we have. You can also
way more of that than I thought we would.
Yeah, you can also talk about society and like different kinds of governments, and that is what I love about the Walking Dead show. Like sometimes they establish a different government or whatever.
Yeah,
like remember the people that claim things.
Yeah,
it's great. Like all these different little rules that people come up with. It's so cool. Like it sets up these wonderful scenarios that I think. I mean, sometimes you fantasize about, like, I've thought about it. Like, what happens with the world ends, and I like seeing it play out in zombie movies a lot. So, yes, this is a dad genre.
Cool.
Yeah. I for all those reasons, there's something so fun about post-apocalypse in things. There's something so much fun about seeing the destruction of a society and seeing, what's going to happen after that. And
it's so great. We're living through it, and we get to watch movies
that's
about it. It's so much fun.
I can look away from the sky that's on fire to watch a sky on fire on my TV.
Yeah, pretend it's not on fire in real life. Yeah.
But the fun thing about zombie movies too is that it's like what Jesse's saying. It's very much a sociological experiment to talk about how people interact with each other and how they work together or don't, and what causes things to fall apart. And I think you can take a lot from that and bring it to yourself and question your motives. Like, I know so many people who are like, yeah, man, things get shitty out there. It's all just looking out for myself. I'm like, oh, you're going to die then.
Yeah.
You are going to die so fast because you do not have a motorcycle and a crossbow, which are the two things that guarantee you survival in zombie post-apocalypse. And yeah, so for all those reasons, it's very much a dad movie because we could talk for a long time about the politics of those places, which, as far as I know, is an incredibly dad thing to do. And it bores the pants off everyone except those immediately having the conversation.
Yes.
Yes. Very essential to dad. Remember, like Jesse, remember when we talked about The Walking Dead in your pool? I think everyone else left.
Why?
They had left a long time ago, and it was just us for hours talking about The Walking Dead. And just The Walking Dead. Nothing else entered the conversation.
Nope. It didn't go anywhere else. It was beer, in the pool, The Walking Dead, and our wives are like, hey, do you guys want to like hang out or talk about something else? And we're like,
nope.
Shh.
Yeah, the way you guys started a podcast together.
Exactly.
Oh man, yeah, that's a beautiful memory.
Yeah,
I also just realized I don't think I care if I show any of these movies to my kids. I don't know if I'll want them to watch any zombie movies with me. But I do know for sure that for me, they belong to me.
Yeah.
They don't have to belong to my kids at all, and I'm fine with that.
Like, I will definitely do a Night of the Living Dead. I will, because for the reasons you stated, it's important. And I have the treasured memory of getting the pants scared off of me by my dad. I'm going to try and replicate that. That'll be really fun if I can do that. I mean, I now have 2 daughters, so it shouldn't be hard. I'm going to try it tomorrow. But I just want them to know about it. I want them not to just be like, oh, zombie movies, ew. Like, no, you got to see why it's important, because millions of people think it's important. They see a lot of depth here. So do your best to be empathetic and try. And that's what I'm going to try and teach with zombies. But I don't care if they like it. They just got to know about it.
Yeah. Jude, do you have any thoughts on whether or not zombie movies are dad movies? Do you know what a dad movie is? Do you feel like you have a... a grasp
a
of that.
vague sense of it.
Yeah,
I guess.
that's
I
a-
guess I agree
yeah.
with what's been said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you care, Michael, birthday boy, that your children will love these? Is this mandatory viewing?
I don't think so. I don't
Is
think
that what the Death of a Dad movie is?
No, it's not necessarily. That could be part of it.
There's
no.
don't try and nail down the definition. We'll be here for a lot longer.
Well, I feel like
It definitely can be.
That's
Yeah.
why. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a movie a dad likes.
Can be.
can be. Doesn't have to be.
It's a moving target, buddy.
Yeah, no, zombie movies are dad movies. Yeah.
I feel I think it's totally a dad genre, but it's the genre where it's like this is something that I feel like my kids might associate with me and be like, Dad's in his garage watching those weird zombie movies.
Yeah.
I don't understand why.
Yeah.
And I'm just like fiddling around with shit, with some sort of crazy zombie with guts spilling out of it on the screen.
Yeah.
That's what these are for me.
That's beautiful.
They're fun time that always make me go, huh, that's interesting.
Yeah. It's a perfect. See, that encapsulates what makes dads dads. Like,
Yeah.
you fall asleep at things, and you like to and you can talk for hours about it afterwards, even if you fell asleep through half of it.
Yeah.
Like, I got the gist. Read the
Yeah.
end of it on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
What does it say about culture? I think that was a successful birthday episode. Do you feel fulfilled?
I feel so fulfilled. Thank you guys so
Aw.
much for talking about these movies with me. I was thinking about it too, because like we were asking, what are some movies that you would feel like if we had to stop this tomorrow, like what would you be sad about not being able to talk about? These are 3 of them. These are like very important movies for me, personally, and they're like world historical in some way as well. So I'm really stoked that we got a chance to talk about it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's nice.
Happy to do it. Happy to do it. And we will be coming at you next week with Signs.
Ooh.
Signs, continuing our spooky October month. You guys have now done Quiet Place Part 2.
Yeah.
This is Mike's birthday episode. We got Signs, and then for our new release, we'll be getting Last Night in Soho.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag. It's like you knock door to door, you got a bunch of candy in your bag, but we've got like kind of a weird mix of we've got aliens, zombies, and whatever Last Night in Soho is going to be.
Some sort of psychological, horrifying othering is definitely happening there.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, we just wanted to get some of the big ones, because we know that the horror is not necessarily the most dad of genres, but for some dads it very much is.
Yes.
And so we kind of wanted to do like the big, like as you guys were talking about in the Quiet Place episodes, like those are good gateway drugs.
Yeah.
Signs is a great gateway drug. I
Signs
feel
is also super scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like some of these zombie movies, like I think that Shaun of the Dead, great gateway drug.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we're just covering some of our bases here, and I don't know, maybe we'll dig into more spooky territory at some point. We're gonna do Halloween before this podcast is over.
Like what's the one with
Yeah,
the red
we'll
door.
do it.
What's the name of that one?
It Comes at Night.
Yeah, that one.
Well, I really want to do It Comes at Night too. That's a dad movie for sure. By dads, for dads, about dads. Anyway,
That one is,
well-
yeah.
All right. Well, from all of us
Dads.
and not your father's birthday, it's my birthday.
happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy not your father's birthday.
It's my birthday.
Everyone praise me for my birthday.
I'm amazing. All right.
Praise him with many praises.
Thanks for coming.